We're jumping aboard Eagle 5 this week to look back at perhaps the greatest space-themed movie of the 1980s. So remember, on this all-new episode, avoid the space special, don't get caught playing with your dolls again, and you know what? That nurse did give great helmet. Hello and welcome to Totally 80s and 90s Recall. This is a podcast where we'll dive into everything, the radical decades of the 1980s and 90s, through our way, from Mr. T cereal and Crystal Pepsi to Sega Genesis and Trapper Keepers. If you're new to the show, it's awesome that you've joined us today. And for our returning listeners and subscribers, it's great to have you back. I am one of your hosts, David, joined as always by a guy who started an online chat group of people who think Return of the Jedi would have been superior with Pizza the Hut instead of Jabba. It is my good friend, Rob.
I like Pizza the Hut.
Yeah.
I like a good pizza.
Yeah, I bet.
Yeah. Hey, so today, a little disclaimer before we start. For the sake of today's introduction, the term ball refers to a formal social gathering for dancing.
Oh, okay.
We just have to come to this understanding.
Yes.
Because what I'm about to say could be misinterpreted.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Okay. So today's episode goes out to our upper class high society listeners. You know the people we're talking about, God's gift to ballroom notoriety. You're always filling your ballrooms and your events are never small. The social pages say you've got the biggest balls of all. Some of your balls are held for charity and some for fancy dress. But when they're held for pleasure, those are the balls that you like the best. Your balls are always bouncing to the left and to the right because of all the dancing. And it is your belief that these balls should be held every night. Now you're probably listening to this and just bragging or itching to tell everybody about your balls. Oh, you have such wonderful fun. Seafood, cocktails, crabs, crayfish. But if you walk away from today's episode hearing nothing, at least hear this. You fancy folks out there may have big, fancy balls, but the Totally 80s and 90s Recall team has the biggest balls of them all.
Ooh. That's a bold statement.
Well,
biggest of them all.
We have a good time.
We do have fun with our balls.
Yes, he's just been waiting for an opportunity to talk about balls.
Yes, we've
dipped into balls a couple times, but not as deep as what Rob. Rob went balls deep.
We went balls deep.
Well done, sir.
Yes.
Well done.
Okay.
All right. Well, you heard that other voice. It's been a really long time, but we also have back with us, joining us today from his long vacation out of traveling the world, the Movie Hound. Welcome back, Kurt. You've been gone forever.
I've been gone for almost a month.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I've done absolutely nothing, pretty much.
Boycotted us for a month.
No, I was not on your schedule.
Not on the schedule.
Who makes that schedule?
Who makes the schedule?
I believe that's you, sir.
I think it's Rob.
No blaming Rob on this one.
Nope.
It's all you.
We were told you needed a break. So we the way the schedule set up, it gave you, because you started your summer break from teaching, so it gave you some downtime.
It did. And then as soon as I had to go back to work for a few days at a training, then boom, next day I'm here.
Next day you're here.
That's right.
So we're getting you back in the rotation. So after your long vacation, you were complaining before we came on the air today, but the schedule now sets up that you're going to be here like every other week.
Towards the end of the year, you're going to get sick of me. It's going to be bad. I apologize.
There's some upcoming time for you in the summer here too. We got plenty for you to do. So you'll be here.
I will be here.
You'll be here, and your balls will be here.
That's right.
According to Rob. So,
and today I just can't wait to compare our Schwartz.
That's right.
I'm just hoping mine's the biggest.
Perfect. So,
the most powerful.
How you use the shorts.
Yes.
It's not the size of your shorts.
That's how you use it.
Well, I'm in trouble both ways.
Our normal throesome today, we're going to add a fourth.
Wow, this is going to get weird.
It's always weird. We have a special guest, my oldest son,
my nephew,
and a kid that Rob knows. My son, Ethan. Welcome to the show, Ethan.
Hello. Yeah. It's good to be back on here.
Yeah, he was here once before when we did our 90s one-hit wonders. Right. There was a little controversy.
Ooh, controversy.
One of his picks, he picked the Beck Loser song, and a lot of people online were not on the same page that was a one-hit wonder. So that's no big deal.
It's no big deal. But
he is going back to college in about, 2 to 3 weeks?
Yes.
So this is his last hurrah of the summer here to hang out with us.
Yep.
Nice.
So are you excited to be here?
I am excited to be here.
He is excited. All right. So again, Uncle, Dad, guy you've met through uncle and dad, right?
Sort of uncle.
Sometimes,
Guy you've met.
he's
Drunk uncle?
Yeah, he's drunk uncle. We call him Uncle Rob, like, other people call people Uncle something. And it's
That's
like,
right.
oh, it's just that guy.
Yeah.
But we put Uncle on it so the kids don't feel weird around him.
Yeah.
That's right. So, okay. All right. Well, everybody's here, Rob.
We're all here.
We're all in place.
We're all here.
So now that you've talked about balls, we've
A lot.
introduced my son. We've
lot.
got the movie Hound. What are we covering for this week's episode?
We are going to take a look at 1987's Spaceballs.
Ooh.
I love balls in space.
Balls in
Classic.
space.
I think that's you could have used the word classic in front of that. The 1987 classic Spaceballs.
We could have.
So we could have. Well, before we jump into anything else, let's have some fun and roll that original Spaceballs trailer.
There it is, planet Druidia. And underneath the air shield, 10,000 years of fresh air. Let's get through that air shield.
We will, sir. Once we kidnap the princess, we can force her father, King Roland, to give us the combination to the air shield, thereby destroying planet Druidia and saving planet Spaceball.
Everybody got that?
Spaceballs, the movie.
Princess, that's the spaceship within range, sir. Good.
What's going on? Either the force or light, or someone's trying to kill us!
Now we will show her who is in charge of this galaxy.
If you do not give me the combination to the air shield, Dr. Slotkin will give your daughter back her old nose.
Only one man and his trusted companion can save planet Druidia from disaster.
Okay, Eagle 5, coming in. Lonestar.
First, they must learn the secrets of yogurt.
Yogurt. I am the keeper of a greater magic. The Force? No. The Schwartz.
Avoid capture on a distant planet.
Tell them to comb the desert, you hear me? Comb the desert! Found anything yet? We ain't found.
Battle the entire Spaceball army.
My hair! He shot my hair!
And escape the clutches of Dark Helmet.
I see your Schwartz is as big as mine. Abandon ship, proceed to escape pod. What the hell's the matter with this seatbelt? When does this happen in the movie? Give me bomb!
Spaceballs, the movie.
How do I know you're not making faces at me under that thing? And may the Schwartz be
I have two things to say about that trailer. One, I didn't realize how long it was. It's been so long. That was a really long trailer. And two, that voiceover guy,
not good.
that voiceover guy is amazing.
No.
That's the best trailer voice.
No.
I love that guy. What are you talking about?
He was a little sleepy for me.
No, I love
I like
it.
the edit for the.
We
Yeah,
ain't
the
found bong. Well, they wanted to show it on TV. It's no good. All right. Well, the trailer gets us hyped up. So,
Yeah.
first question we always like to field and we're going to start with Ethan. So he's new to the show. What do you remember about watching this for the first time, or when do you remember watching it the first time?
I remember that I was really little watching it, and actually, Kurt, I think it was your wife and your kids who showed it to me, like New Year's one year.
It was a favorite of my
Good,
children,
good parenting by all of us apparently when they were little kids for the Spaceballs. So
there's not much.
there's no inappropriateness.
I obviously
here.
didn't understand a lot of stuff, or liked it as much at first, but as I watched it more, then I liked it more and understood it more. So,
Oh yeah, it's great. What about you, Kurt?
I liked it.
I know. First time.
I always like to keep the energy
Yeah,
high
I know.
when
The
I go
energy up. I liked it. You know what's funny is he writes that in his notes, so he doesn't forget to say it.
Oh,
I
no.
liked
For
it.
this question, I never write anything, which is why I always start with,
That's
I
right.
liked it.
I liked it.
No, I do not remember the first time, but I do remember as I was growing up that I liked it more than Star Wars.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh wow.
That's a thing I found online. There's a group out there that they never saw Star Wars, and this was the first thing they saw. And then they saw Star Wars and they go, oh, yeah, Star Wars makes sense now. So after watching Spaceballs. So, yeah. So, but
sometimes you just got to go balls first.
So whether or not, that's all day. You
It's gonna
started,
be all day.
You
I know,
started
Rob,
a bad thing. So
you started it high.
I'm sorry.
But, besides not remembering the first time, did you like it the first time you watched it?
Of course.
You remember?
It's sophomore
Do you remember going, yes, this is my movie?
Yes, it's about,
perfect.
It's about
sophomore
balls.
It's about balls. It's not really
the
about
running
balls.
joke is balls.
Not all the time, but yeah.
Most
They
of the
all
time.
have balls on their heads.
They do. What about you, Rob?
Fifth grade,
yeah.
and I don't remember when I would have watched it, but I can remember we
Babysitters.
probably
Yeah.
Julie
So.
the babysitter. No, I remember we were quoting it on the playground and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to have seen
saw
it somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's a movie my parents would have been into, but maybe. I mean, my dad, Mel Brooks, he grew up on Mel Brooks movies, so I imagine he probably thought this was pretty funny.
Well, I said it before on the podcast. I saw this in the theater. So in 1987, I'm 11. So it's right there up my alley. I didn't know everything that they were talking about, but I remember my dad was just like, hey.
I could see your dad thinking it was funny.
Oh, my dad loved it. He's a Mel Brooks guy anyway.
Yeah.
So I just remember in the house, he comes in, he's like, hey, we're going to the movies. It was just me and him.
Mm-hmm.
And he stashed popcorn and stuff in his jacket and we headed out the door and then we went and saw it and he laughed. I just remember him laughing the entire time. Yeah. And I laughed at, the stuff that was obvious I laughed at. But I famously said before in here, I love Uranus bumper sticker. I remember he laughed so hard at that. And I was just like, is that his favorite planet?
Just a planet.
And so a couple years later, I was like, oh, yeah, that makes a lot more sense now, doesn't it? So, but I liked it the first time I saw it too. Obviously, it's become like, it's just become a staple. We watch it all the time. And you introduced it to our kids. I think Connor said the same thing when they watched it at your house for the first time. And they weren't sure I think your wife said she wasn't sure if they were going to like it, but of course then they did. So it became a staple. So a couple little things. When this came out in the theaters, other movies out in the theaters. So the weekend it came out, it finished at number 2.
Behind Dragnet.
So, Dragnet was number 1. Explain that scenario.
And that was that Tom Hanks?
Yes.
Hanks and Aykroyd.
Aykroyd.
Yeah, that's not a great movie, but that's fine. A couple other top 10 movies you would all be interested in: Beverly Hills Cop 2,
Okay.
Predator, The Untouchables,
Wow.
Right.
Full Metal Jacket,
Wow.
and Harry and the Hendersons.
Ooh, that's a
classic.
That's actually you go on Friday or Saturday of the movie, you've got a lot of things.
Yeah.
That's when
that
you hide in the
can
bathroom.
go.
You just keep hopping.
into
Keep theater hopping.
That's right.
So you've heard.
So you've heard.
That's better. That's great.
we would never say that we would do that.
we
So,
never condone
but yeah,
that.
so,
That's right.
but it did finish at number 2. So I can't believe it didn't climb over Dragnet.
Well, that just makes it even a good joke. Now it's number 2.
Yes. How many?
And
was there really that
I'm
many people
surprised
going to
that
see
it-
Dragnet?
Well, I'm surprised that
It was
finished higher.
I think it was
some others.
that was a movie my parents would have
Just
gone
because
to see.
it's got to be just
Dragnet?
because
Yeah.
Hanks and Aykroyd are in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
But
I've seen that movie. It's not enjoyable really to watch.
But it's
love that movie.
you love it?
I love it.
How is that possible?
Dragnet, really?
Yeah.
I've never. I don't know that. I don't know that
No.
I've seen it.
Pants.
I can't. Dan Aykroyd's a little too much in that one. Like he's too straight. He's trying to copy that Joe Friday guy a little too much, right?
Well, he is
Well,
Joe
I
Friday.
know it's just too much.
He's trying to copy that.
I don't
guy.
like it.
He's trying to play a part the way it's supposed to be played.
I'm just
damn
saying.
it.
He did his assignment well.
I don't. I
Doesn't like
I don't. I don't like that it was number 1. I just can't believe. Like, who was sitting at home? Hey, honey, you want to go to the movies? Like, Dragnet's playing.
Well, and the list of movies that you read, to be honest, I think some of those movies were better than Spaceballs. I'm sorry.
Well, no, Full Metal Jacket and a couple are better. So
Surprised those didn't.
I wouldn't say
Finish higher.
Predator was better than Spaceballs.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's got Arnold, but it's not better. The Untouchables is okay.
It's all right.
I wouldn't say Beverly
is
Hills
touchable.
Cop 2 was better than.
It's all right.
So really, only one movie, Full Metal Jacket. Unless you're going to put your flag on Harry and the Hendersons being better than Spaceballs.
Tempting.
I like Harry in there. I like that.
No, you don't.
I do.
You haven't watched it in 20, 30 years.
That's
I
true.
don't know.
I want you to go watch it again and come back with that same opinion.
John Lithgow. It's got the whole crew. It's
The only thing I really remember is when Harry gets in the car
Harry
and
gets
makes
in
the
the car.
bump
Yeah, that's
on
it.
the roof.
All right. Well, this isn't a Harry and the Hendersons podcast, so we'll
But
straight
that
up-
will be coming up soon.
Yeah, that's going to end up in the trailer here pretty soon, right? We'll add that to the movie
I don't
list.
know if we own that one.
You should get it.
We should get it.
Just you could probably get that at.
I don't know if you can get that on DVD.
Oh, you can probably in the Walmart $5 bin or $6 bin, whatever it is.
You can get anything
$7.50
on
now.
Amazon.
You can get anything on Amazon or eBay. You pick.
Yeah.
You can get either one.
Anything.
So, okay. Well, let's fire up Mr. Coffee, watch some radar, and for Lone Star's sake, disable that virgin alarm as we boldly go. I mean, you know the rest. It's Spaceballs. You know, the score itself you can hear, like it's Star Wars esque. But whoever the guy that made the score was the genius that threw the pew pews in there. That makes the whole song. Like that's literally the best part of the song is the pew pew.
Well, and I'm sure it'll come up.
Yeah.
But in a lot of the research I found, the connection to the actual Star Wars movie
Oh yeah.
is strong.
Yeah. It's
Like,
one.
there
It's,
was-
one,
there
it's almost
was-
one for one.
Yeah, like Mel Brooks and Steven Spielberg or
George
George
Lucas.
Lucas. They were in. They were
What is
talking.
this? What are
They
you
were in
Yeah.
cahoots.
Yeah.
They were in cahoots.
This doesn't make sense. You're putting your
Yes.
fingers together like they were together.
They were. They were.
And then they
They,
weren't
were like
together.
one.
They worked together.
They'd become one.
They were not a couple
We don't know.
working together.
Well,
You know, I never
working-
have. I will admit, I've never seen a Mrs. Lucas. Right? He's never been in public with a Mrs. Lucas.
Never seen a
Is
Mrs.
there a
Brooks.
Or a Mrs. Brooks. Yeah, he was always with like Penny Marshall's dad and all
No,
those other
yeah.
ones. All the
Yeah.
Carl Reiners.
Yeah.
he was always hanging with those guys.
yeah, he was.
I'm sure he had a few ladies stashed at home. It's Mel Brooks. Remember he did the movie "It's Good to Be the King," and
Yeah.
then you know was that History of the World Part 1
Yeah.
or whatever
Yes.
it was? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So
Anyway.
all right. Well,
Anywho.
before we begin reliving this week's movie, we like to give you the listeners the important information about the movie, and for that, we're going to toss it over to the movie hound himself. Or not. We're just going to sit here and stare at each other because we don't know what we're doing. Apparently, it's our first time recording.
The
Why
one
do you
time,
need the button?
the
didn't-
one time
you
I
don't-
tried to wait for
First
the
of all.
button, it wasn't there. Usually I get
First
cut
of
off
all.
by the button.
Yeah. First of
You
all,
don't need the.
It's
first of
been
all,
a
we
month
don't
since
need
I've
It's
been
like the
here.
Schwartz. It's
Yeah.
like the Schwartz. You don't
Yeah.
need it.
You didn't need it. You didn't need the
You
button.
never needed the button.
When I
All
say
right.
go, you can just,
just
go.
go.
I usually try just going, and then Rob
Rob
hits the
pushes
button.
buttons.
We just found it in a Cracker Jack box.
There you
Just
go.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go now.
Yes.
Let's see how I read today. It's been a
Yes.
month. I haven't
haven't
done
read.
well.
You haven't read in a month?
I have not. I don't
man.
read.
Yes.
All right, here we go. The hilarious science fiction parody movie, initially called Planet Moron, but then changed to Spaceballs, was co-written, produced, and directed by Mel Brooks. The movie was released on June 24th, 1987. It stars Bill Pullman, John Candy, and Rick Moranis, with the supporting cast including Daphne Zuniga, Dick Van Patten, George Weiner, Mel Brooks, and the voices of Dom DeLuise and Joan Rivers. The movie was made on a budget of $22.7 million, and it brought in over $38 million at the box office. Spaceballs has a Rotten Tomatoes critic score of only 52% and an audience score of 83%. So once again, the audience is much smarter than the critics.
That is correct.
Now, Rob, as David wonders why nobody has told him his ass was so big, please do a little segment we call Back of the Box.
Back of the box, back of the box. Box, back of the box.
You notice he times up his musical cue perfectly.
Well, it's good to be the king.
It's good to be the king.
All right. Roger Ebert of the New York Post writes, cheerfully silly, great visual gags. The gags and goofy special effects fly at ludicrous speed as Mel Brooks, Blazing Saddles, Young Frankenstein, boldly goes where no comic genius has gone before. The Spaceballs, a ruthless alien race led by the dastardly President Skroob, Mel Brooks, are out to steal the air supply from the neighboring planet Druidia. Enter Barf the Dogman, John Candy, and handsome space bum for hire, Lonestar, Bill Pullman of Ruthless People, and their souped-up intergalactic Winnebago battle cruiser. Can they save Druidia while rescuing a spoiled Druish princess from a whining little runt named Dark Helmet, Rick Moranis, in time to pay off a mountainous mound of mozzarella known as Pizza the Hut? Well, that depends on whether you truly believe in yogurt, Brooks again, and the power of the Schwartz. So explore Spaceballs, and may the farce be with you. Approximate screen time, 1 hour, 37 minutes.
Nice. You know what I like that he's done now for his back of the box?
What's that?
Because he does this little, such and such, Dom DeLuise, Steve Martin. You've adopted Kevin Nealon's,
parentheticals.
What was he called?
It's in the parentheses.
Yeah. And so, and then,
That's right.
Mr. Suggestion or whatever it is. Yeah. And so, you've just adopted that character. So, and then the other thing too, of all the things Bill Pullman's been in, Sleepless in Seattle, Independence
Ruthless
Day,
People
you went with Ruthless People.
That was his first movie before this.
And that's what was on the back of the box.
His back of the box.
Yeah. I guess that was it.
I mean, to do back of the box, they didn't do the Spaceballs thing and look ahead.
True. Yeah, I know.
In his movie.
That's good. At least Rob stuck to his homework on that.
That's a period. Good. Back of the box. 1987. What you would have read when you went to the movies on it. What shall we watch?
All right.
Oh, Spaceballs.
But
that
back
sounds intriguing.
But I wouldn't have,
Spaceballs?
So I wouldn't have seen that when I went to the movies. Wasn't that back of the box on the VHS? So that would have been a few months later.
But it came out before, remember?
All right. I don't know.
Came out while they're making the movie.
Stop it. All right. Well, if you're new to the show, the four of us are going to talk about some of the parts of the movie before we jump into our famous categories, where we'll share our favorite and maybe not so favorite moments from Spaceballs, and we'll jump off the deep end here with casting choices, as the Movie Hound referred to. We got Bill Pullman here. We got John Candy, Dom DeLuise. We've got Mel Brooks, a whole host of characters. So what do we think of the casting of this movie?
I think the casting was perfect.
Perfect.
I think it was good.
Good. Oh, not perfect. He went with good.
No, it was good.
Okay.
I can't imagine. Well, I don't know. I can't imagine anybody else playing him. So
that's why I went with perfect.
know.
Later on in our categories, it's an actor that we're not real fond of in the movie. And I was just sitting there going, I don't know if I can pick one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I found a few casting things. Mel Brooks wanted Pullman from the start, but the studio said Hanks or Cruise, so they could guarantee box office sales. But both turned it down.
Well, they were putting in lots of money because it was a big budget movie back then, so they wanted
Hanks had to do Dragnet, so he was busy. And 87, what's Cruise doing? Cocktail. Probably Cocktail, or it's Cocktail or Rain Man. He's working on two of
Can
those.
you imagine Cruise doing this?
No, it'd be crazy.
So
Him, I think if he's Lone Star, then it takes away from everybody else.
Yeah,
like then the movie can't work as good, and he's not going to be funny. Like part of Lone Star's charm is he's kind of a bumbling hero.
Yeah,
Cruise can't play that.
No,
he would get mad. Oh, I got to be more heroic. I got to hang from the outside of the Winnebago, or I got to do something crazy like that.
Do his own stunts.
That's right.
So
I was going to say, for Colonel Sanders, I saw that they had originally wrote it for Steve Martin.
I saw that.
But he had to turn it down because he was just too damn busy at that time. He
87.
was doing Three Amigos, Little Shop of Horrors, Roxanne, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Yeah, and
all within that little 2-year window.
Well, and then that Dirty Rotten Scoundrels was in that window too, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a little after.
Yeah.
Planes,
little
Trains,
after.
yeah.
So, well,
I read that James Caan.
No,
did see that.
Did you see that?
The Caan.
James Caan was the original choice to play Lone Star. Unfortunately, he was struggling with addiction issues at the time. A then unknown Bill Pullman won the role as Caan was deemed too expensive to insure.
that would have been terrible. James Caan?
That's what I thought.
Like that would have been like he would have been way too serious
Way too
with
serious.
Lone Star.
Yeah.
I'm glad that didn't work out.
I also saw that Tom Berenger was considered for Captain Lone Star.
Again, that's a terrible choice. What are they? Anyway, I'm glad those did not work out. So, Candy and Moranis were signed immediately. Those are the only two that Mel Brooks I saw behind the scenes on YouTube, and he said he offered them straight to those guys.
Yeah.
Although the Mog character originally was supposed to have a dog mask.
I read
Yeah,
that.
they're like, no, we're paying him all this money. We want to see his face.
Well, no. Once the John Candy signed on, the studio said, "Well, we have to show John Candy." So,
I read they said if we're going to cover his face, we might as well go get somebody else.
Oh yeah,
that's half the cost.
Oh, yeah.
And
by the way,
worry about it.
you just kicked in about Steve Martin being way too busy. But I was doing some research. Check out Candy's 87 to 90. So Candy has this, Spaceballs, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. In 88, he's doing the Great Outdoors. He's got Uncle Buck. And then in 1990, he's in Home Alone, bit part, but a memorable bit part.
Yeah.
So that 87 to 90 run for John Candy is pretty big. And the year before that, 2 years before that, he had Brewster's Millions. He had Splash in 84. He had Stripes in 81. In 86, he was in, I forget what it was, but he was in another movie, pretty prominent movie. So I'm talking from like 81 to 90, like every year, Candy's just in something.
He's busy.
Right? He's a busy guy.
Quantity
He's busy.
over quality.
That's a heck of but that 87 to 90, that's a heck of a run. Like he's like, that's a box office. When you're doing Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, or not Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, you're doing Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, you're doing Spaceballs, Great Outdoors, Uncle Buck, and then Home Alone.
A lot of memorable characters.
Goodness gracious. Good job,
To be
John.
fair, Home Alone, he only was there for one day.
I know, but anyone who's seen Home Alone many times, he sticks out.
Yeah.
He's a major part. Even though he's a small part, it feels like a major part of the movie.
One of the better parts.
I think so too.
That whole scene where
He
the whole
keeps-
trip and it's all improvised and he was brilliant, I thought. So
I saw Brooks wanted Daphne Zuniga the whole time for Vespa.
Yes.
You said Daphne earlier, but I think it
Did
was
I?
Daphne.
We
Well,
haven't-
it's well
we-
established. I don't read well, especially names.
we both tripped over our words
You're
quite a
good.
bit.
He saw her in a Rob Reiner movie. Thought she was great. She was hesitant at first because she'd never been in a comedy, so she wasn't sure if she'd be able to do it.
I also read that she had heard that Mel Brooks was difficult
to work with.
difficult human being.
Man, I didn't see
and
that
then,
anywhere.
Then she got in and she realized how smart he was when it came to making comedies and movies, and so she was glad to be part of the project.
I only found one other thing in the internet about anyone else considered or talked to about. I saw Kim Basinger. That's it. That's the only one I saw as far as Vespa. So, but that could have been a studio thing again, where we need someone more famous than
I don't know
this person.
I don't know.
I got to be honest. Every time we do one of these shows, these podcasts, and it's a late 80s movie or early 90s, it seems like Kim Basinger's name was always up, but she wasn't in any of the movies.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like her name always came up.
Yeah.
Hey, who's blonde? Who can we call? Kim? Oh, let's call Kim. No, she's not available.
Yeah, no. I kind of wondered too whether or not this movie was it felt thrown together, to be quite honest with me.
No, you're crazy.
So I do. I kind of feel like there are times where they're like, oh, got somebody. Good.
But I think it's
And
supposed to be
so-
like that. It's supposed to feel that way.
Well, yeah. And so I don't think putting big name people in
No,
there
it wouldn't
was intended anyway.
I mean,
I think they were looking for.
Candy's a big name guy.
Yeah, but I think some of those were used to draw people in. Let's get some big name people, and then let's just slap some unknowns in here and
if
slap a movie together.
this whole movie doesn't work if Candy and particularly Moranis aren't there.
No.
Yeah.
I don't even know who else
Yeah.
could do Dark Helmet. So if it's not him, so the woman playing the nurse is an actress named Brenda Strong.
Right.
She would go on to play a famous part in Seinfeld, Sue Ellen Mischke, the O. Henry Candy heiress, and she was also the narrator for the TV show Desperate Housewives. So she went on to a great career.
Yeah. I was reading there was kind of the extra people in this movie, and some people uncredited, but also the lady that was the snobby, not waitress, she was the snobby store owner in Pretty Woman.
Oh, yes.
And I think she was the nurse.
No, the nurse was Brenda Strong.
No, who was
Different
she?
lady.
Trying to think of which one
Was
she
she
was.
the
but
twins?
I don't remember.
No,
she was in
Double
here.
Mint twins.
Yeah.
The Doublemint twins.
Yeah.
Chew your
Chew
gum.
your gum. Chew your gum.
Yeah. So, and then of course we got a lot of other bit characters. You
Yeah.
got Michael Winslow, the Police
Yeah.
Academy sounds guy. The Dink Dinks. You've got the little guy from the little guy Warwick is his name.
Warwick Davis.
What's he from? Legend
Willow.
or Willow?
Willow,
That's what it
yeah,
was. Yeah.
yeah.
So
Jim J. Bullock.
Jim J. Bullock
Jim J.
just running around.
Jim
Yeah.
J.
He's Prince Valium.
Prince Valium.
Yeah.
Sleeping
Beauty. Sleeping Beauty. So yeah. So
Mrs.
overall,
Valiant? Oh, I'm sorry. It's there.
It's there.
so overall, great cast. Everything works real
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
So interesting facts. You guys find anything interesting about this movie?
I found that it says, along with Caddyshack 2, Beetlejuice, and Big, all 1988, this movie is notable for containing the F word in a movie rated PG.
No.
by the Modern Picture Association of America during the early years of the PG-13 rating. Interestingly, the original video label erroneously states that this movie was rated PG-13. So,
okay.
Yeah, so it's one of the only movies that had a PG-13 rating and still used the F word.
Good job.
Yeah, there you go. I think I only used it a couple times. Not very often.
If it's 13, it's probably only once.
Yeah, it was once that I could catch. So.
They had a Spaceballs book written, and I saw that it was written by the Goosebumps author R.L. Stein.
But under a different name.
Yeah, his pen name was Jovial Bob Stein.
Jovial.
So I guess he thought that was funny. So, Ethan, you got any fun facts you found?
Something I did find is that it goes back to the castless area. I found out that one of the voices of the Dinks happens to be Phil Hartman.
Oh, that's right. I saw that somewhere.
So he voiced them in an uncredited role. So I found that
there
to be
were quite a
interesting.
few uncredited roles in here.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I didn't see
One
that.
of the Dinks was also Tony Cox, and he played an Ewok.
He did.
Yeah, he played.
He also played the genius that stole. In Me, Myself, and Irene stole Jim Carrey's wife from him. He was the little guy, and he's in Bad Santa. He's the elf in Bad Santa. So he's gone on to an illustrious.
He's got a good
career as well. So
interesting facts about this movie for me that I'd never noticed before was that his tie is male genitalia.
Of course, everybody knows that.
I never noticed it.
Really?
I never looked. I never paid attention.
The whole movie, as he said, is based on balls, and
I never noticed it.
The whole thing's based on
Never
dick
noticed
jokes.
it.
It's a dick joke right in front of your face.
I know. Never noticed.
Immediately.
Yeah, never noticed
the dick in his face.
That's right. Never been accused of that one.
That's right.
Rob
I've
says,
always known
I've
that's
always
in my face.
noticed.
Rob, so many in my face. Sometimes I just don't notice.
They're just coming at me. And then that's gonna leave a mark.
Oh yeah.
When he gets up,
that's
gonna leave a mark.
I found a chat room online, and somebody said, "When's the first time you ever heard that?" And everybody was saying Tommy Boy.
No,
but no, this was
Spaceballs.
This is the first time you ever heard.
There's an
that's gonna leave a mark,
Candy,
right?
So we talked about how George Lucas had to give him permission. Well, he called and got permission because he wanted to make sure. And then George Lucas said he could do basically anything he wanted. He just couldn't sell any merchandise because he didn't want to get Star Wars merchandise mixed up with Spaceballs merchandise, which is why we have the bit in the movie about merchandising. Yeah. But George Lucas also, because he wanted the space effects to look as good as possible, his Industrial Light and Magic studio did all the space effect shots of the spaceships, so they look exactly like the spaceships in Star Wars.
And so 1/5 of the budget was actually more than 1/5 of the budget was just the
special effects. Yeah.
Did you see that the Millennium Falcon is in the movie?
Oh yes,
It's in
the diner.
It's at the diner.
At the diner room.
It's a good
But they
little
didn't want to pay
Easter
the extra money to have it flying, so that's why it's
I
parked.
know.
Yeah.
So I wonder, they're inside getting food, so they must have just crisscrossed, like Chewie and Han are on their way outside or something.
Well,
They were storing the cargo.
I had read that George Lucas had asked that Captain Lonestar not be too close to
Han Solo. So they dressed him as?
So they did Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones, yeah.
So Harrison Ford said, "No Han Solo, but you can do my other character."
I thought that was a brilliant move on Mel Brooks' part. He's like, "Oh, okay, not Han Solo. Okay, we'll do Indiana Jones. Yeah.
We're getting something."
Yeah.
That's right.
So
one interesting one I found was the cast and crew of Spaceballs share more than 20 Academy Award nominations and wins. Wow. But, of course, none of them were for Spaceballs.
Well, no.
But the only award the movie won was for Worst Picture in the 1987 Stinkers Bad Movie Awards.
That's insane.
Beating out one of your favorites, David,
Dragnet?
the Garbage Pail Kids.
Okay.
That is literally insane.
Earlier,
that movie's horrific.
Okay, so earlier I was making a comment and I stuttered.
Okay.
And I paused, and it was because I don't know that I find this movie great.
Oh,
and I'm of the minority. I know.
What?
I'm of the minority in this room. So
you are out of your mind. Actually,
there are some really funny parts that I laughed out loud, but I watching it again.
First of all, you can take this stance all you want.
So-
This movie's not worse than Garbage Pail Kids.
I agree with that.
All right,
It's
Garbage
not
Pail
that
Kids
bad.
is an absolutely horrendous movie.
I do find that.
Like that.
It also
I can't
beat
even
out
understand that.
Ishtar, Leonard Part 6, and Who's That Girl?
Leonard Part 6 is also just horrible. That's that Bill Cosby thing.
that we determined there was not a 1 through 5.
No. They said the way the movie sets up is they're supposed to be a 1 through 5. You just didn't get to see them.
Yeah.
And so it just starts at 6.
Because I remember you guys brought it up in a previous episode. I go, oh, so parts
Horrible.
1 through 5, and you're like, there aren't
There aren't
part
5
1
others. No, it's absolutely horrible.
Anyway,
That is offensive, by the way. That one worst of the year. That's just terrible.
I don't think it's that bad, but it's
First
not
of all,
my
it's not
favorite, so.
bad at all. All right. Oh my goodness. You're going to cause a lot of problems.
I know.
on the show today.
I prepared
That's what's
for
going to go
that.
on.
I
So.
figured
I
I'd
also
get
saw
some
that
shit for it.
Mel Brooks' lawyer really likes the movie because his lawyer's name is Alan U. Schwartz.
Oh, nice.
So he had a very powerful Schwartz.
He was the Schwartz. He had his own Schwartz.
And
So-
knowing Mel Brooks, that was intentional.
of course.
Yeah.
May the Schwartz be with you. That was
Everything
That
is
was
intentional.
a intentional shot across the ballot.
Oh, yeah.
My lawyer is very much a part of this movie making. So
Well,
Did you
even-
see that Skroob
go
is
ahead.
basically just Brooks backwards? They just
Yes.
had to move the
Oh,
R
yeah.
around.
Said, what's
It's
it called? An anagram?
yeah,
Is that
Something
right,
like that.
Rob?
I don't know.
Check my
But it didn't work,
educational
so they had
thing.
to move the R.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it actually sounded
It somewhat works. Because if you did Brooks straight backwards,
President
Skroob?
Skroob.
Skroob.
I don't read or speak.
yeah.
I've been drinking.
Yes.
It's not Rob today, it's me.
We've been drinking.
You got any other facts there you want to share,
Something else
Ethan?
I did find is that the color patterns when Spaceball 1 hits ludicrous speed are similar to the ones in Stanley Kubrick's 2001 A Space Odyssey when the moment travels across space via a multicolored wormhole.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, see,
Well, he can read. I can't.
Yeah.
the basis of this
He did
is,
not stumble over anything,
No.
and that was intense.
Yes.
There was a lot of
there's
vowels.
multi-syllabic words in there.
Syllabic.
Well
Yes.
done.
So, well, Star Wars is the basis of this,
Yeah.
but there's other sci-fi movies
Oh,
he's
yeah.
also
Many,
borrowing
yes.
from. Well, we got Aliens, we've got Space Odyssey,
Yeah, Star Trek.
2001 Star Trek,
Well, they make fun of. There's a little Wizard of Oz in there too.
Wizard of Oz. Yeah,
I'm melting. or
technically isn't,
whatever.
but technically isn't Snow White getting a shot too? Because the Dink Dink song is
Oh, yeah.
basically
Yeah.
Yeah.
the dwarves
Yep.
singing. So same thing. All right. Well, so questions about the movie or any plot holes. Do you have any questions about, obviously, because Rob hates the movie, he might have a couple questions, but we'll start with you. Hater, you got any questions about the movie? Plot holes?
Are you
I
married
don't
to
hate
David?
it.
Because are you the hater of all things
He's
now?
the hater of all things.
I don't hate it. I just don't think it's
Laurel
as
will
funny as
Laurel will fight for her title, so don't think
Yeah,
you're just
that's
taking
okay.
that away from
But I
her.
believe
Laura-
she likes this movie.
Does Laurel like this movie? She does.
She
like
loves
this
this
movie.
movie.
Okay. I couldn't. It's hard to find a plot hole
Gotcha.
in
Yeah.
a movie that has no
So,
plot.
okay, it does have a plot, but I do have one, right?
Well, okay.
So-
I put the entire premise of the movie hits a major plot hole
yeah.
when the roof of Princess Vespa's ship opens for her and Barf to talk and rescue.
Yeah.
The main point of the movie is that planet Spaceball is running out of air and Druidia
Yes.
has air, but it's obvious Vespa and Barf can breathe perfectly fine
Yeah.
with zero air
I-
during their talking and climbing the ladder
That
to
is-
Lone Star ship.
That is correct. I'm with that.
Yeah.
I also don't understand why President Skroob, he's talking and breathing fine, so why does he have to breathe out of that can? What is it?
He
Just
just
a-
wanted that good
It's
fresh
just
air.
like a shot of air or something. Like you
I
would
don't
take a
know.
shot. So,
Well, in modern day times, you can go to
An
oxygen
oxygen
bars.
oxygen
Yeah.
bars.
So the
Okay.
people are doing it now. I
So,
don't know.
all right. Well, here's my plot question. Not a hole, just a question. So the whole thing is based on they're going to kidnap Princess Vespa to hold her hostage to get air, so they can get the combo to the shield and get on Druidia. Before so she's getting married that day. They're on their way to the planet. If she doesn't run away from her wedding and fly away, what was their plan to kidnap her? They can't get through the shield to get on the planet. So what was their first version of kidnapping her? Because she's getting married. They don't know. They don't know she was going to run away from the wedding. So I'm just
I had
interested.
this same question yesterday and was talking to my wife about it. And the only thing we could come up with was they knew she was going on her honeymoon somewhere.
I guess.
So they were going to get her there.
Because it's a
That's
goofy
pretty
movie.
broad.
Because
that's
they
a pretty
talk
broad
about
effort.
it's going to be a short honeymoon right after.
Yeah,
Yes.
I guess that's the best version. You
Yeah,
can
I
get
had
is-
that
It's
same
gonna be
question.
a
That's
short
the only thing.
honeymoon.
That's the only thing I could figure out.
They're just pulling up to and just waiting for her to fly out. We're just going to squat here for a couple days. Oh, here she comes.
Yep.
Here she comes.
It's because it's a goofy movie.
I was
gonna say.
It's bad writing.
That's not bad writing. All right, you're crazy.
I want to know if the Planet of the Apes was so close, why did they just go steal their air? They don't have a
Yes, they
shield
don't have a
around it.
shield. Yeah, there's got to be
That's
other
true.
planets that have air that don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they could breathe on that planet, no problem.
Yeah.
So,
That's fine.
I like in the lightsaber scene when Lonestar hits the ground and jumps back up, his stunt double is standing there, and they don't even try like to have a shot of Bill Pullman. It's literally the guy's a foot taller than him. He's got a beard, and he's just standing there, and his wig's all sideways, and then he starts doing flips off the bunk bed and everything. But I'm like, I don't know if they did that on purpose or what, but it is the same stunt double when they capture the stunt doubles from earlier. I just didn't understand why. At the moment when they take the shot of him, he's just standing there. So why did the stunt double have to be in at that moment? Bill Pullman was
Bill Pullman couldn't do that jump. So
he was at craft services.
How did that stunt double get in the room if he was captured?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, they captured him. So
they let him go. They never actually
They did.
They just all went off.
They just ran off to go get the real people.
Hey, can you really put an old nose back? Like she had plastic surgery. They're just going to mangle her face. They're not going to put the nose back.
And it is the future.
Cut it up.
It's 2001 at least. Because the
like
car is a
came at her
2001.
with a bone saw.
Yeah. I think they're just going to disfigure her. That's not put her old nose back because it had a big bridge and everything in it. What's he going to reinsert I don't know what's going on. I just don't think you can put the old nose back.
Maybe they kept it. So
what's that?
Maybe they kept it.
Maybe they kept what? The extra bone? They kept the old nose? Like it just comes on and off?
So like examine it or something?
Yeah. It's like Face Off. They just cut around it and it pulls right off. You put it in.
Yeah, if they could do it in Face Off.
They can do it in Face Off. You can do it in Spaceballs.
Yeah.
So I wanted to know, where did all the escape pods go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do they go? Like what planet are they going to?
They went down to the Planet of the Apes planet.
What? No.
That was right next to it.
Really?
Well, that's
But
where
when they
We're not
fly?
sure how far that thing flew.
That's true. That could have been.
But I could make that. It's because in the original Star Wars, when they escape, we assume they go to that ice planet because that's their rebel base.
Yeah.
But the Spaceballs didn't have a rebel base. Does it just go back to Planet Spaceball?
I guess.
I guess so.
So yeah, that is a good one. I don't know where the escape pods go.
That's a good question, even for the regular Star Wars movies, right?
Yeah.
Where do they go?
Well, I think they went to the rebel base.
We assume that.
We assume. Yeah. Well, we don't want to think too far on that. So.
I also want to know how Lone Star gets the ring back. Because when he's leaving the Mega Maid's head, he's wearing the ring again.
Oh, yeah. Maybe
It's
he got
a
it.
little whoopsie
Did he get it out of the grate? Maybe
before he had to run
maybe
away.
He pulled the grate up and pulled it out. Right? We don't know how far down it
Or
went.
he used the Schwartz to pull it out.
Schwartz?
Oh.
Because he doesn't need
He
the
doesn't
ring.
need the ring,
Doesn't
but
need
why
the
would
ring.
he take time to get it then?
Because it's
What's a nice
for
ring?
posterity.
It's a nice ring.
It's a nice
It
ring.
means something.
Yeah.
He needs his pinky ring.
It's from his time with yogurt. So he wants to keep it. Otherwise, he's going to miss yogurt, right?
That's
so,
right.
Dark Helmet's costume. So in the original, it's great, but in the original, Darth Vader's wearing that mask because he has to wear the mask to breathe and live. Dark Helmet doesn't. He can just take it on and off whenever he wants. So why is he wearing the big helmet?
Well, and I like
Just
how
makes it more intimidating.
Oh, okay.
I like how Rick Moranis, the brilliance of his part,
Does
is
the two
how he
voices?
changes his voice when it closes
I know.
and when it opens.
Yeah.
I just think that
great.
that is funny when I watch it and
That's when he opens.
when he changes to that like South African,
Well, and what I really like is, when he goes...
he becomes James Earl Jones when it's closed.
What I really like is when they go to the sand planet, his dark helmet costume becomes a sand costume. Does he have a helmet for like every terrain? Like if they go to a water planet, it's a scuba helmet. And
And I like that he just has the little door and
the little eye holes.
So, all right. Well,
I like that in that part where he says, prepare to leave. And he goes, why do you always have to prepare? Just go already. And he goes, well, you're going to want to sit down. And then, bam.
Just go. Yeah, it's good. So, well, I think plot holes aside, there aren't really any. There's a couple. We had a couple, but for the most part, you can fish most of them out, right? So, well, the biggest plot hole is this then. Okay. They vacuum out all the air. So trees come out of the ground, snow comes off the mountains, everything happens.
Come out of the ground. Yeah.
Then when they push it back in, those same trees go into the exact same holes.
Yeah.
The snow falls right back on that mountain.
Yes.
Everything just
It's because putting things in reverse was cheaper.
I gotcha. So I will tell you one interesting thing. The castle we're in Druidia. It's actually based on a real castle in Germany. It's down in southern Germany, right on the border of Austria. In
Have
the
you
Alps.
seen it? Have you been there?
We've been there. Our family went there when we visited Germany. It's the Mad King Ludwig's castle.
Ludwig's.
But
Did
it's
you
the
know
basis
it was
for
that when you were
castle.
there? Or did you
I
guys
didn't
figure it out later?
We went to it, and then when you see a picture of it from a wide shot, you go, it looks just like the castle in Spaceballs.
And you're like,
and
'cause it
then
is.
a little Google machine magic. Guess what? It's based
the
on that
same.
castle. So we've been to Druidia, basically, is what
There
that
you
comes
go.
down to.
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. Well, we looked at some reviews earlier. You talked about Ebert, kind of said it was a little fun or whatever. Siskel said it was hit and miss film, so maybe he feels more like you, Rob. But it had just enough good jokes that he'd recommend the movie slightly.
Yeah.
So
No.
that's not a full endorsement, but there you go. He thought the funniest part of the whole film was Pizza the Hut. Now, I don't.
I did.
Don't.
I read that. and
agree.
I disagreed with that.
I don't agree with that at all.
No, there's
So.
way funnier parts.
Roger, not so nice, gave it 2.5 stars.
Not so nice.
And said he laughed out loud several times, but the movie as a whole is not successful and is too late to spoof Star Wars, as it's been 10 years since Star Wars came out and everyone has forgotten about Star Wars.
That's right.
Raj said he couldn't recommend it and he gave it a thumbs down. So Raj can go fish in a boat
Nobody
somewhere.
remembers Star Wars to this day.
Yeah, 10 years later,
Go fish
no
in a
one
boat?
remembers.
Did
Yeah,
you say-
go fish in a boat somewhere.
that a saying?
That's the nicest thing I can come up with.
Go fish in a boat.
You want me to give him the Genie Bueller? You take your thumb and shove it over. You take your thumb.
You know what? You can just
So-
go fish in a boat.
All right, Rob.
I know.
Well, although Siskel and Ebert weren't real flattering
Yeah.
about it, your job, and begrudgingly it
I
seems
know.
like this week, was to find a good review
Yeah.
for Spaceballs. Were you able to do
I
that?
did. I found a Google review.
Oh, nice.
By independent review by a gentleman named Roger, not Roger and Ebert.
Oh, okay. Just a separate.
Just Roger.
There
it's
are more?
Roger K.
Are you telling me there
we'll
are
call him
more
Raj.
Rogers
Yes, there's
than
many.
Roger Eberts
Yeah.
that watch movies?
Yeah. And it's not my Uncle Roger.
This is
it's
ridiculous.
not my Uncle Roger.
I got you.
It's Roger K.
Okay.
Yeah.
K.
It says, this is the only movie I've ever seen 2 times in the movie theater in my 50 years. I understand that some people may not love this type of humor or didn't understand some of the references, but reading the comments by the people who hate it makes them seem dim-witted and humorless.
Ooh.
I smile at some of my kids' shows and movies because something is witty and well written. Who can't bring themselves to laugh or smile at humor? I feel sad for these people. Their lives must be empty and pathetic. Rogers seems upset. Open yourselves up to humor, no matter where it comes from, and maybe you won't have a heart attack early from life's stresses.
There you go.
Roger has it all figured out.
Your Uncle Roger there is calling you out, Rob. He's telling you to
He's
laugh
basically,
and
laugh,
stop being so
chill
serious.
out. That's
Yeah.
exactly what Roger is saying. He
Calm
said,
down.
Don't take the movie for what it is. Chill out.
Well, we should have flip-flopped this week because you love Spaceballs. Rob apparently hates Spaceballs.
I don't hate it.
We made him find the good review.
I just don't think it's as
And,
revered as everybody
You
thinks
had
it
the
is.
unenviable task of having to look up a bad review. So were you able to locate one?
I was, since
Okay.
the critics didn't like it so
I
much.
say you can't. It shouldn't have been hard.
Yeah, it's. I found a lot of them. A lot of the bad reviews all talked about how it was 10 years too late to do this movie.
Roger Ebert.
That was mainly their premise.
Yeah.
And this one that I found actually does that too.
What?
But it says Mel Brook's Space. Oh, sorry. This one is from Michael Dare from the Los Angeles Weekly. This was July 2nd, 1987.
All right, Michael, let's
So
go.
he says Mel Brooks' Spaceball suffers from an overdose of bucks and an underdose of yucks. I counted 5 big ones, which average out to $5 million per chortle.
Well, he thought that Bucks Yucks was gold.
pretty good.
I
And
wrote
then he
that.
threw in a chortle too.
Oh my goodness.
And then he says, though I hate to review a film based upon its budget, I can't help but feel that there's something very wrong with satirizing. That's a hard word.
Yeah, that
for
is
me.
tough.
One $25 million movie with another $25 million
I believe
movie.
what you're going for is satirizing.
Satirizing.
There
Thank
you go. No problem.
You're older, so you've
fine. Yeah,
got
I got
bigger
it.
vocabulary. And then he goes on to say, forgetting for the moment that this is already 10 years too late for a Star Wars satire, what's disheartening about Spaceballs is how much of it falls totally flat. And here's where he gets mean to people.
Oh my goodness.
Joan Rivers, who has never been funny,
Oh.
is totally embarrassing as the voice of the robot, though she's never looked better.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah. And ditto for Michael Winslow, whose unremarkable ability to mimic sound effects is just as impressive in a movie as a ventriloquist is on the
Does
radio.
this guy think he could do those sounds? Because I'd like to hear him do
Yes.
those sounds.
Wow.
Yeah, so he's not a fan
That
of
dude's
it.
The bleeps, the creeps, and the
man.
what?
That reviewer
The bleeps,
sucks.
the sweeps, and the
A
creeps.
lot.
Ah, that's
Sweeps,
the
sweeps.
sweeps.
What?
Yeah,
What?
the sweeps.
He's typing that up on his typewriter, by the way, in 1987. He's like, "Oh, this is going to be good."
Yeah, he's
People are gonna love me.
Ooh.
sorry, Michael. I booed
Yeah.
you.
He thinks he's Skip Bayless or Stephen A. Smith or
That's right.
something.
What was his thing? The Bucks and Yucks.
Let's see what
and
it was. It suffers from an overdose of bucks and an underdose of yucks.
Wow.
Are you ready? that dude suffers from an overdose of sucks. All right, a lot. That's his problem. He clown. Even back in 1987, he's probably like 80 now, but you're still a clown. All right, so. Well, I don't want to read any more reviews from that guy. He's off the list. You find other people from now on.
Variety at the time said the film was a misguided parody and not very funny.
Your job was good reviews. You don't get to throw in bad reviews.
No, there's a lot of them.
Whatever.
I was just sitting there getting angry as I was trying to pick which one to do.
I'm getting angry at him. You're actively subverting this podcast.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, whatever.
I don't hate it.
So
just don't.
All right. Well, let's calm your hate for a few minutes. Right. Let's just jump into the categories. We have our first category. It's going to be our favorite quote.
They're here.
You can't handle the truth.
No, I am your father.
There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
When this baby hits 88 miles per hour, you're going to see some serious shit.
Well, just like those timeless quotes, what we're looking for in this category is something that immediately makes you think of the movie. So, Ethan, we're going to start with you today. And why don't you tell us what your favorite quote of the movie was?
So, my favorite quote took place at just the 1 hour and 4 minute mark of the movie when President Skroob is running across the entire ship when they approach the planet Druidia, and he says, "The ship is too big. If I walk, the movie will be over."
That's your favorite quote?
Yes.
All right. He likes the running, and it's too big.
So if he walks, then we never see him in the movie.
How did he get to the ship? He was in the place. He was
Spaceball
at
City.
Spaceball City, and then he's just on the ship. Did
they figured out the beaming thing.
Beam
well,
him?
apparently Spaceball City is obviously pretty close to Druidia.
Because
they're getting the air
I guess.
sent to him. So maybe they
the
figured out
space geography in this movie is
a little
off.
Okay.
I would like to see some charts.
Yes.
I want a map.
Charts.
I want a map.
Maybe we can get Neil deGrasse Tyson on here, and he can give us.
He can explain it.
Well, they went through a wormhole, so it cuts down like 4 years of travel or something.
Right.
I just wonder how he got to the ship.
Well, they were able to go plaid.
But that's a good quote. So, Kurt, what's your favorite quote?
All right, mine. I think part of mine that makes it funny is the accent that goes with it. So I'm going to do my best.
I love it.
It's when they get to the planet of the apes.
Nice.
And it's what are those things coming out of her nose? Spaceballs. Oh shit! There goes the planet.
You're so proper sounding. Yeah, that's good.
But yeah, part of it's the accent that does it for me.
That's funny.
Go Spaceballs.
Oh shit!
The planet.
All right, Rob, what do you got?
Oh man,
he can't find one because he hates them.
No,
because he hates the movie.
No,
there's nothing funny.
Actually, there's really funny. They were funny. I think it's probably too long to read, but
you'll read it anyway.
Okay, so it's the interaction between Colonel Sanders and Dark Helmet when they're talking about the movie.
Okay,
and they're going back and forth
now.
And Colonel Sanders says, "Try here, stop." Dark Helmet says, "What the hell am I looking for? When does this happen in the movie?" Now. Colonel Sanders says, "Now. You're looking at now, sir. Everything that happens now is happening now." Dark Helmet says, "What happened to them?" Colonel Sanders says, "We passed them." Dark Helmet says, "When?" "Just now. We're at now. Go back to then. When? Now. Now. I can't. Why? We missed it. When? Just now. When will it be now? Soon. How soon?" And it just keeps.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the "Who's on first gag. So it goes on forever. What I like in that though is when they show the part of the movie where he crashes.
Yeah.
When they stop ludicrous speed, he goes, "Nope, fast forward past this part. In fact, never show this part again."
Never again.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. So, well, for me, picking a quote out of this, I thought was literally insane. This is the hardest.
Just shooting a
this is one of the hardest ones I've had to pick a quote out of. So this is the one I went with because I laugh somewhat the most every time I hear it. He says he's the minister when they're getting married the second time. And he says,
nothing to do with love.
He says, "Excuse me, I'm trying to conduct a wedding here, which has nothing to do with love." And he goes, they say, "We're sorry. Don't be sorry. Be quiet."
Sorry, be quiet.
And so that one's good. The only other one that I really laugh a lot at is, so the combination is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's the stupidest combination I've ever heard of in my life. That's the kind of thing an idiot would have on his luggage. And then Mel Brooks goes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's amazing. It's the same thing I have on my luggage.
Remind me to change that.
So yeah,
my luggage.
change my luggage. So those are great. You could go on forever with all these. I mean,
the other one it was when he's got his desert helmet, desert fatigues on, and he says, "Are we being too literal?"
Yeah, we're being too
And Dark
literal.
Helmet says, "No, you
Sorry,
fool. We're
it's
following
to comb the
orders. We were
desert."
told to comb the desert, so we're combing it."
Well, I'll tell you.
And here they are combing
yeah.
with big giant combs.
Well,
I
and then, of
thought
course,
that's funny.
the two African Americans have the pick.
We ain't found shit.
Found bones.
Yeah, so that is my wife's favorite. That's what she laughs at the most every time we watch the movies. We ain't found shit. All right, so that's a good one.
I was
So,
going to say the quote I probably recite the most is, "Yes, remember, open it before you eat it."
oh yes,
With the fortune cookie.
correct.
So I'll hand anything to my wife. Remember, open it before you eat it.
Well, and we quote at our house, and just last night we quote all the time where like someone will say something, you'll be like, "We can't stop. We have to slow down first. It's too dangerous."
Yeah.
So we'll do that all the time when someone will be like, "Hey, we need to stop," or "We need to do, hey, stop doing that. We can't stop." So we do that. Did you have any other backups?
I did not.
Oh, you just went with the one.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He was sold on that quote. Like that's the
right.
quote you're
But
gonna
I think that right there is, if there's any part of this movie that I really like, is it's not to me overtly funny. There are some
Okay.
overtly funny stuff, but I think some of the humor is really subtle. And,
Well, it is.
and
'Cause
it's-
when he
and,
says-
and you could miss it if you're not.
Yeah.
You know, it's even something as simple as like chew your gum.
Yeah.
If you're
The
not
Doublemint
from
twins,
if you're
yeah.
not from that
If you don't know about the
generation,
Doublemint twins,
that's not funny.
Yeah.
Or what
But
about
if-
when Rick Moranis goes, "What's the matter, Colonel Sanders? Chicken,
Chicken, right?
Yeah,
See, that's super funny.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know that has to be funny.
Yeah, or
and
the going plaid, or
Going
the
plaid.
or the even how they make fun of the VHS and
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and they go and it's all on the
It's in his timeline.
They've got them all on the shelves, you know, and so there's a humor where they're making fun of the industry,
oh yeah,
you know, so it's not overtly funny, but it's pretty funny.
there's
Very
still
clever.
There's still some overtly funny stuff because another quote is the how many assholes we got on this shit?
Yes, that's
Yo.
classic. Yeah, I'm surrounded by assholes. Yeah,
So I knew it.
I'm surrounded by assholes.
yeah.
That's how Rob feels in here
That's
today, right?
Yes.
Because we all love the movie so
That's
much. So,
But see, and I'm a huge fan of Conan O'Brien.
oh yeah,
And I know he's a big fan of Mel Brooks and that style of humor, and that's why if I
gotcha.
find this movie funny, it's because of that type of humor. So anyway.
Well, and last quote I'll go with because we could do this all day, but I really do also like when he goes, "No, sir, I didn't see you playing with your dolls again."
well, even that whole dialogue that he does
Oh, yeah.
playing with
He
his
does play
dolls.
with his
is so- yeah. Oh, your helmet
that was
is
so
so
big.
big.
He says because what do you say? Jewish princesses are often attracted to men with money, and power, and I have both.
Well, and you know, you talk about quoting and stuff about back on the playground. And one of the things I remember quoting is when, and I'm going to get it wrong, where he goes, "We finally meet again for the
First time.
for the last time," or something like that.
Well, we
And then
used to
it's,
do
"You're
that.
my brother's
Yep,
uncle's
that's
sisters."
what we did.
You know, we
My
used to say that
uncle's
all the time.
brother's
Yeah.
roommate.
Yeah,
which
brothers,
makes
us
nephews,
nothing.
cousins, former roommates.
So, all right. Well, that takes us to category 2, our favorite scene in the movie. Again, Ethan, we'll start with you. What do you got?
My favorite scene is when Spaceball 1 loses the Winnebago and their hyperjets, and they're forced to go after them. Colonel Sanders wants to enter light speed, but Dark Helmet orders them to go straight to ludicrous speed. Spaceball 1 proceeds to enter ludicrous speed, and the ship enters full force at everyone. The ship is holding off the airlift. They end up passing Winnebago, and Dark Helmet orders Sanders to stop ship. Sanders says it's too dangerous, and they need to stop and slow down first. Dark Helmet does not care until Sanders has stopped Spaceball 1. The ship stops, sending Dark Helmet crashing into a panel in front of the main deck. This scene makes me laugh every time I watch this movie, and I will never forget it.
Oh, yeah. So, you wrote down like the whole scene.
Yes.
Like that came from the script. All right. We got scene 43 here. Let's go.
I'm going to piggyback on him because it's the same scene.
Oh, nice.
I put the ludicrous speed scene. Yeah. But the part that, and I even rewound it and made my wife watch it. She didn't find it as funny, is that the scene that you talked about where he goes, and I'm going to play it.
We passed them! Stop this thing!
We can't stop. It's too dangerous. We've got to slow down first. Bullshit!
Just the way he says that, because we can't slow down.
Well, he can't move
We
his
can't
mouth.
stop.
He says, my brains are going into my feet.
I just thought that part was,
You know,
just
for
the way
someone,
he says it.
for someone who hates the movie, he laughs a lot
I don't
over
hate
there.
it. I will say that again. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's as great as what everybody makes him.
All right.
And it could grow on me.
Oh, I know.
You ask me by the end of this podcast. I
Yeah,
even
maybe
He's a
take
grower,
my-
not a shower.
He is a grower.
I will tell you. So, so this is about the ludicrous speed.
Yes.
But it's also an interesting fact.
Oh, okay.
Tesla.
Please.
Please do education
Please help us.
Carry on. Yes. No,
Yes, that's
Tesla
great.
Motors
Wonderful.
has used Spaceballs' starship speeds.
Yes.
Light speed, ridiculous speed, and ludicrous speed, and plaid speed as inspiration for naming their acceleration modes. In homage to this movie, Tesla has ludicrous mode for acceleration beyond its insane mode, and plaid mode and overtop ludicrous. Yeah, so it's got
Brilliant.
Mel Brook should sue.
right.
Sue. Yeah, you owe me money. So, all right, Kurt, what's your favorite scene?
My favorite scene, I went with the space diner scene close to the end.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of quick hits of funny things. We got the tail between the legs. We got the John Hurt alien callback. Oh no, not again. And then I always just remember the "Hello, my honey, hello, my ragtime." The little guy, the little alien going down the bar.
Yeah.
What did he have? The special.
That's what
Gonna
I
change
ordered.
mine to the soup. Good idea.
Good idea. No, I like my kids. That's the part when they were little. After we showed it to your house, we'd rewind 4 or 5 times in a row the little alien. Hello, my kid. They liked when he does the thing and his hat goes on. He goes bing.
I love the trucker dude with the hat on. He goes, "Water my ass. Bring this guy some Pepto Bismol."
So, I actually have some opinions on the trucker guy, but we'll talk about that later. So that's a good one. That's great. That was right next to mine. Ludicrous was a backup for mine.
Yeah.
But my favorite scene, and Ethan probably knows my favorite scene. My favorite scene is when they jam the radar.
Oh.
Because I think one of the funniest parts of the movie is when Michael Winslow goes, "I'm having trouble with the radar, sir." And they got over there, and then he puts up his mouth and goes, "I'm having trouble with the radar, sir." And they throw it and rip it out, and then he does it again, and then they're like, "Nah." And then he goes, "I'm having trouble with the radar, sir." And then he does that. But just when he does it again when they get over there, and Dark Helmet gets so mad, he rips that thing out of the.
What is it? That's not the only thing he's lost.
That's the only thing he's lost. But yeah, when he does that voice a couple times, "I'm having trouble with the radar, sir."
Something about
I
that
will
radar
always laugh.
scene I did not mention earlier is that when they jammed the radar, it was labeled a strawberry, but then Dark Helmet tasted
It was raspberry.
It was raspberry.
Yeah.
Raspberry.
So,
They mislabeled their jars of.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard.
And
Yeah.
where did they keep that jam on the?
Winnebago.
That I forgot. That was one of my
I think
questions
there's a
earlier.
launch. There's a launch thing.
But where did they hold it?
And it was a very large.
It
It's
was a
in
jar.
large.
I think it's in the gray tank. All right, that's where it
in
is.
the great tank.
Rob knows what I'm talking about.
It'd be in the black-
It's in the
black
gray. Oh,
tank.
black.
Yeah,
But you
that'd
don't
be
want-
black.
Well, you don't want to mix it in with the black tank. That's the bad
Oh no,
stuff.
you don't want to
Yeah.
mix your black and your
No,
gray.
yeah, there you go. So, all right. Well, that takes us to category 3. Your favorite bad guy. We might all be close to the same page on this, but there's a couple options. So, we'll start with you this time, Kurt. Who's your
All
favorite
right.
bad guy?
I went with the helmet.
Helmet. Yep, I'm Helmet. Team.
Oh,
Nope,
I
Rob.
went Helmet.
What do you got? So we got a try.
We got a menage on Helmet.
A menage on Helmet. So who's your favorite bad
I
guy?
went with Colonel Sanders.
Oh, Colonel Sanders. Nice.
He was a close second for
Colonel
me.
Sanders is
just
really
because
good.
he held everything together.
Well, yeah, he's actually the smart one.
Yeah.
Like, and
He wants to
if
make sure
Dark
that everything
Helmet,
goes the way it's supposed to go.
Yeah.
And then they all get destroyed.
Oh, yeah.
Or ran over.
if you
by someone
listened
else.
more to Colonel Sanders, like Colonel Sanders knows Dark Helmet's a moron,
Yeah.
but for some reason he has to listen to him
because
all
he's
the
got the
time.
Schwartz and he's scared
Yeah,
for his balls.
That's it. That's all it is. So
Yeah, he always is able to explain everything.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he knows what's going on. And that's like that scene when he's got his desert
Yeah.
fatigues on.
Are you
And-
think we're being too literal, sir?
yeah, he knows.
But
like he
the
knows
part
the
where
whole
he tells
time.
him to sit down.
Yeah.
You know, and then he gets shot back into his seat. He's like, "You're gonna want to sit down."
Oh
Bam.
yeah, but he's way smarter than the rest of them, so he knows what's going on. But so we have
Now.
like you said, we have a menage of the Dark Helmet. It seems pretty easy. I am on record that I think Moranis is a genius in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like he's hitting home runs every time he talks. Like it's perfect. Because when he does the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah.
when he says she gives great helmet, when he is playing with his dolls,
My
just everything he
favorite
does.
was after the helmet crash.
Oh, yeah.
And he does
That's
the
exact-
how you been?
Yeah.
Fine.
Fine.
Sir.
Okay.
Fine.
Good.
Smoke
It's been
him
a
if you
good
got
thing you were wearing the helmet. Yeah.
He goes, he goes, what do you want to do now? Well, are we stopped?
Good. Well,
Let's
why
take a
don't we
break.
take a 5-minute break?
Very good,
sir. Smoke him if you got him, and then he does the fall.
Just falls. So
Yeah.
that's good. Yeah, I think Moranis is hitting he's just hitting a home run every scene he's in. Like everything's perfect. Like when he takes the I can't believe you fell for the oldest trick in the book.
Fooled you.
What's with you, man?
What's with you, man?
Here, have the ring back. Oh no.
Hey, let's try it again.
Yeah. Good. So okay, so he's good. So yeah, those sum up the bad guys. Category 4, most unbelievable moments or scene. So Rob, what do you got? You start out with this.
Oh my gosh!
Come on, Rob. Everything was believable.
Yeah, everything's
Yeah.
believable.
One
Everything
day.
works.
I don't know. The part for me, the movie that really kind of took a turn is when the stupid Spaceballs one turns into Mega Maid.
Oh, that's
The
good.
Transformer.
Yeah,
What?
I understand.
They gotta get the air
I
out.
understand, but that part is like, really?
All
Come
right.
on.
It's funny.
No, no.
Mega Maid.
It's funny.
Suck.
She goes from suck to blow.
She goes from
suck,
suck to
yeah.
blow. She's a good maid.
Yeah.
So that's good.
Well,
Anyway.
Arnold loves her.
Usually got to pay extra. I love Mega Maid.
Hello.
Mega Maid. And we have
He was
child.
watching this at home. Oh, get in here.
Have you seen that kid?
Go from suck to blow.
Have
He
you
looks just like him.
Yeah, there is no question.
No.
There's no way he goes, yeah, no, we never did it.
No.
How,
Like
how
that-
did that last for like 14 years
Oh my
before
gosh,
he was
before-
found out?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
He looks nothing like me.
Like when they looked in the baby crib, they had him, holy cow. That looks
All
just
right.
like him.
So Rob's not buying the suck to blow.
Nah,
What do you got, Ethan?
Vacu suck.
I would say mine is when the Spaceballs are on the moon of Vega searching for Lonestar and his crew, they eventually find Yogurt's hidden door.
Yeah.
The part that's most unbelievable about that is eventually when they're looking around, Sanders tells Lord Hammond, it's no use, sir. We've searched everywhere. There's no way they would have searched the entire planet in that short
Yeah, I
amount of
know.
time.
It's a moon.
Huge
It's
planet.
huge.
Still.
It's a moon.
Well,
it's a
it's
small
unbelievable.
moon.
It's just Arizona.
The one spot they're standing next to,
I
he's
know.
like, wait,
Wait,
oh,
the
and
presence of the Schwartz.
why is there a Y on the door? Like, yo, he's
It's a
just
Y.
giving himself away at that point. So, yeah, so that's a good one. That does seem a little crazy. What do you got, Kurt?
All right, mine has to do with the dinks.
Oh,
when
dinky.
they find them in the desert,
Yes.
I can understand them having water.
Yeah.
But
I feel like I'm at Disneyland. Yeah.
so I can understand them having water for everybody. But why the hell do they have droid oil?
Just in case. You never know.
I'm just randomly walking around
Well,
with droid oil.
Well, like the
To be
Deeks and
fair,
they were like scavengers.
on
So
Star
they-
Wars,
Yeah, they have all kinds of stuff.
Remember, those folks were out swapping droids and stuff. So
there was no other droids.
I know. I'm just trying
When they
to
went to
help.
Yogurts, there's no
All
droids
right.
with the dinks.
Yeah.
The Dink Dinks, they're like Boy Scouts.
I had
They're
to
always
go with
prepared.
something.
I got you.
I picked
Well,
one
I
that
gotcha.
seemed random.
obnoxious.
Is
I
what
gotcha.
I went with on that one.
Well, I went with what Rob mentioned earlier, and that's the extraction of Princess Vespa.
Yeah.
Because again, why can they just breathe out in space no problem? Like, barf and other.
Not in
I
here.
mean,
It's a Mercedes.
yeah, exactly. So I didn't understand. And
A 2001.
how did they get up the ladder before him and him get all that luggage on him? The top of that thing was really small. What do you go stand on the back or? And he has no harness attached to him. Eagle 5. He's just out in space.
Yeah.
Gravity's fine. Everything's fine. So
Dot Matrix.
Yes.
She's concerned about people looking up her
upper
skirt.
can.
Upper can.
Does she have
No, it's just
anything
metal.
to look at?
I don't know.
I mean, I don't know.
By the way, how's that Virgin alarm work?
Yeah.
I don't
Like-
know.
Carefully.
Yeah.
They're just about to kiss and it goes off.
Goes off before you
Before
do.
he does, yes.
Yeah, I just don't understand. Is it? Do you think it's sensed by like blood consuming in the crotchal region?
like
He's starting to swell.
An engorgement.
Yeah,
of-
as soon as it.
I'm sure it doesn't.
touches
It's not anything with him.
engorgement.
It's more
Okay.
her.
So
her chastity
maybe
belt
it's-
has
yeah.
sensors.
Maybe it's like the pheromones start
Ooh,
getting too
yeah.
high.
Body heat.
Yeah, that's what it is.
And in some scenes with Dot Matrix, if her foot's lifted, you can see shoes under there.
Oh yeah, she's got.
I was gonna say,
yeah,
several times.
Sometimes she's roller
I
skating.
know.
Sometimes she's
Yeah.
shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the best costume.
No.
So,
No.
but it's okay. She seems very unfunctional. I also do like when they get mad because that huge trunk has the hair dryer, the big hair dryer.
Yeah.
And then they keep carrying
They
it.
throw the hair dryer out, but keep carrying the empty trunk. I'm like, why don't you just leave the trunk there?
Which is
even
funny.
John Candy goes, Mog goes, us, 100%
So much
better.
lighter,
I
yeah.
could carry 5 of these.
Which when you go back to Dot Matrix and how she's what was the word used? The costume wasn't very good.
Yeah,
it wasn't very
yeah.
utilitarian.
It was not.
But that was always my argument in the real Star Wars movie.
C-3PO?
Is that C-3PO's ability to go through, it's an awful
Oh, he's-
design for a
he's
robot.
fine.
You
Well,
can't do anything.
He's a protocol droid. It wasn't supposed to be out in the
No,
desert and
that's what I meant.
Tatooine and all
So-
this crap.
Yeah.
So, all right.
You get really mad about it.
Yeah, you really. Yeah,
All this crap.
You're really digging into
Why
it.
don't you just go fishing a
First
boat?
of all, you leave C3PO alone. Yeah, you go fish in a boat somewhere. Take your thumb. All right, category 5.
Shit.
Category 5, best location in the movie. What do you got, Kurt?
Alrighty, I went with Spaceball 1.
That's what I said.
That's what I said too.
All three.
Oh, wow.
now
A
we got a
menage of
menage on
Spaceball
the
1.
Hey,
I am not the menage on that one.
I went
So-
with it's got everything. It's got a mall, a three-ring circus,
Yeah.
and
It
a
does.
zoo, and it's
It
a
does.
transformer.
That's
and
what
an
I said too.
orchestra, apparently.
Yeah.
There's an orchestra
And
in
it's
there.
huge.
Huge.
Yeah.
Because if we walk, we won't make it.
That's right.
That's
and
right.
some of the best scenes in the movie happen
Take
on
place
Spaceball.
on Spaceball 1. Anything else?
Well, yeah, despite Spaceball 1 being the villain ship, it has the most options and it's a great location to visit, even to live on it for a certain amount of time.
Oh, okay.
Great
Yeah.
place to visit.
Got everything. Great place to visit.
I love that.
Yeah, you're on. If you're
great
on
place
plan,
to
what if
visit.
you're on Planet Spaceball? Hey, hon, we got vacation coming up. You want to go to Spaceball 1?
Seems to have better
Just go
air
hang
than the
out.
actual planet.
It's
so.
got everything.
It's got everything. Yeah. So, well, I will diverge from
Oh.
you three. I went with the castle in Druidia. I like the castle. Based on,
castle.
I told you earlier, based on the castle in Germany, it's called the Neuschwanstein Castle.
Wow.
Neuschwanstein.
All right. So anyway, been there. We like it. So it gives me good memories. So that's my favorite location in the movie. Plus, I like that minister who's doing the. She comes down the aisle, out the door. Like that guy's great.
Stop her,
So,
stop
yeah,
her.
it's good. So that guy really wants to get everybody married. I don't know what's going on with him. So
He just has a job to do.
Well, that takes us to category 6, our worst actor or actress.
Money now and a lot more when I get in that office. You can take that to the bank.
I'm gonna take you to the bank, Senator Trent. To the blood bank.
I found the Batcave.
We gotta get those locks changed.
She knows who we are.
She
We'll
knows who
just
we
have
are.
to kill her.
Yep, we'll kill her later. We have work to do.
We have work to do.
They're eating her. And then they're going to eat me. Oh my God!
All you wanted to do was embarrass me. Well, you did it, okay? Grandfather always said you were a loser. Now you're trying to make me one, and I hate you for it.
All right. Well, those are all obvious. I have to be honest. It was very hard for me. I'm going to go first this time. I couldn't find much where I was like, this person's doing a bad job, because even when they're supposed to be spoofing, they're not meant to be being. Some of these parts aren't meant to be great. So the guy I went with, the closest I could find, is your boy the trucker at the truck diner. I just think he's overdoing it a little bit. When he says the part you said you liked, which was get this guy's in Pepto-Bismol, I just feel like it's a little like he really was like all in on that move. Like a little bit of overacting. Like this is his moment. He's probably never been in another movie, and he's like, I'm going. I'm here with John Hurt. I got things coming out of stomachs. This is happening.
I
But
got a thing coming out of stomachs.
it's the best I could do. He was just a little more over the top than I'd say anybody else I was watching in the movie. So
I struggled to find anybody.
yeah,
That
in a movie that you hate.
that I
But you're
hated.
right.
Couldn't find anybody
It's
acting
amazing.
bad.
Well, that I couldn't pick one.
Yeah.
I didn't
felt,
either.
I felt they were.
I
all,
said I liked everybody, even Jim J. Bullock.
Yeah, Jim J. The only other one I had was kind of Joan Rivers, because some of her stuff is her shtick, like where she's like, "Can we talk?" Because that's like her thing. She does like so. Some of her dialogue wasn't super original, I guess, but I guess that's what she's supposed to
Yeah,
be.
the princess was a little annoying to me, so I almost picked her. But
there we
then I
go.
think it goes back to what you said.
Yeah,
I think they're intentionally supposed to be
like
not great.
yeah, because
You
she's
know?
supposed to be spoofing Princess Leia, which if you go watch that, she's a little annoying.
Yeah,
at
no,
times.
that's well,
So,
and Han Solo's over the top.
yeah,
You know, he's
too much.
He's machismo over the top machismo,
Ooh.
and I think that's what-
machismo twice.
Yeah,
Nice.
Muchas
yes.
machismo.
Muchas.
Dos machismo.
So,
Look at
all right.
that.
Well, Ethan, we've been talking. Do
Our
you have
Spanish,
anybody bad?
our Spanish listeners,
Spanish. Yes.
are
Thankful.
thankful.
I'm
for this.
sorry.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
sorry, Spanish listeners.
So, but yes, Ethan, do you
I
have?
went between two, and I decided to choose Jim J. I had to.
Oh, you
George
don't like
Prince Valium.
Prince Valium?
No.
It's not working.
He does nothing good for this movie. He's always sleepy and yawning when someone's around him or talking to him. Like, does he even care about marrying Princess Vespa, or does he just want to do it so he doesn't feel like he's alone?
I guess.
Right.
I think he's just being told to do it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's
Basically the same as her.
Yeah. So yeah, I would say the The worst thing in the movie was that tuxedo Lonestar ends up wearing at the end. That's the worst looking.
By the way, where did he stop to get that?
Where did you get it? Yeah.
I mean, they might have stores on Rudy MP.
It's open way too much. It's cut way too low.
It's a good TV.
There's some taco meat hanging out with the chain and those shoulder pads.
Yeah.
I don't know
The
what's
high
happening
collar.
there. Yeah. And then Barf got his hair done on the way because he's got
Bartholomew.
like a ponytail now, or I'm not sure what's going on. So that's fine. But that outfit was rough. So, well, that'll take us to category 7. Our favorite merchandise you could purchase from one Mr.
Spaceballs
Yogurt.
the T-shirt. Spaceballs the coloring book.
He's giving us all the answers.
Spaceballs the lunchbox. Spaceballs the breakfast cereal. Spaceballs the flamethrower.
Kids.
The kids love this one.
What about
There you
the?
go.
You didn't get Spaceballs, the doll,
doll.
or whatever.
Me.
Nope.
So, all right. Well, what do you got, Ethan? What's the merchandise? Your favorite merchandise?
I went with the flamethrower.
Oh, flamethrower. Who wouldn't? Kids do
describe the-
love it.
Kids love it.
I went in flamethrowers
Although
too.
the favorite merchandise is one of the most dangerous products, it just seems like yogurt doesn't care for the safety of
I
children.
like how practical he is. It's dangerous, but I kind of like it.
But the kids love it, and so
Kids
do I.
love it.
So do I. Yes. So, all right, Rob. What do you? What's yours?
I went with the doll.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Schwartz be with
Because that was another one. I remember we would say it. We would
Rob
quote
likes the
that,
cutesy
you know.
stuff.
He likes
Yeah.
cutesy stuff. Yeah. All right.
Schwartz
He
be
needs
with
something to cuddle with.
He does.
And if I read right, Mel Brooks's kid, I think.
Yeah.
He's got the original.
Oh, nice.
He has it.
Probably
in his
not.
collection.
Probably
So-
not a kid anymore, but
No,
yeah,
yeah.
his son. Okay,
that's
or
right.
daughter.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you have?
Mine was flamethrower too.
Ooh, flamethrower
Yeah.
twice. I went with lunchbox.
Yeah.
Because I like that it's just a Transformers lunchbox. They didn't even bother to do anything with it.
Yeah.
It just is Transformers. It says Transformers on it, and it's got the Optimus Prime and all that stuff. So I liked that lunchbox
And
when I was a kid, and I just loved that it's like no one will notice.
Yeah.
Like,
It doesn't matter.
It's the same with the coloring book too.
That's
so.
yeah, coloring book is also Transformers.
Yes.
So yeah,
As
The
well
other
as the
thing
cereal, I think, isn't it?
yeah. I think
Yeah,
the cereal
yeah.
is too. Yeah.
Well, and the cereal,
So
what I liked about
was
it says 100% sugar.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it says on the cereal.
Do you
on the
think
bottom.
Transformer stuff was just laying around that set they were on, or like
Probably.
they just got their hands on it?
So I'm
or
telling you, I think
did Mel Brooks just go to Walmart and be like, "Hey,
no,
let's
there's
just grab
probably
these
somebody on
things."
set that goes, "Oh, my kid has that.
Oh yeah,
I'll just grab it. It's in the car right now.
It's in the car.
I took him home. He's in the car."
I just like the fact that they make no effort to even put a Spaceballs picture on it.
Yeah.
Nah, just Transformers. It's fine.
So the movie also has some products that were not at Yogurt's place.
oh okay.
Yeah. So there was Spaceballs the towel.
Oh yes.
Yep.
The
There
shape.
was Spaceballs the plate.
Yes.
There was Spaceballs the shaving cream.
Yeah.
Very famous scene.
Yes.
Spaceballs the toilet paper.
Yeah.
Spaceballs the sheet.
I like the sheets because
Just
he had.
and it's just the sheet.
yes.
Yeah.
Is it Marlene and
Darlene.
Darlene.
Yeah, there you go.
Darlene.
Yeah. And then there was Spaceballs the placemat.
What's Skroob doing under the sheet? He has a book, and they're laughing, and then he pops up. I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on.
After the show's over, we can explain it.
This is
to
an
what
unlist-
he's probably
it's an
doing.
unlisted ball.
Yeah,
He's
that's right,
reading. He's
that's right.
reading to them. Yeah.
And then
Okay.
I did mention. Well, I was going to mention earlier. You watched the Goldbergs.
I did.
Yeah. I did not watch it.
Okay.
There's an episode of the Goldbergs where Rick Moranis brings back his character of
He does.
Dark Helmet,
Mhm.
and in that there's Spaceballs the wallet.
Oh, nice.
That's, that was featured in the Goldbergs.
I would say going back to Spaceballs, the sheet. If there's such an error problem on Spaceballs
They're
City,
spending a lot of- they're
maybe
using
he
a lot of it.
Maybe he shouldn't be under the sheet. All
that's
right,
right.
that's going to waste a lot of air. All right,
Or participating in activities that
would waste
require
more
a lot of
oxygen.
air.
That's
Yeah.
correct. Maybe he's got a couple of those cans under there. So, all
those
right,
cans up.
that takes us to category 8, our last category, and sometimes our favorite. It is the Harry Temple, I should have stayed in Aspen moment of the movie.
Aspen it is.
So, as Harry has told us, this is a moment in the movie when a character knows or realizes their demise or something really bad may happen to them. So, Ethan, what is your I should have stayed in Aspen moment for Spaceballs?
It is in the diner. It is with John Hurt.
Yes.
Oh.
So
Yes.
he apparently doesn't learn his lesson from aliens, and
He doesn't learn his
And by the way, it was reborn.
Yeah.
It was because he died in Aliens.
so
So,
he probably would have learned his demise if he had not learned. He would have just
oh yeah,
learned his lesson from aliens.
you'd think
Unless
so.
he was a cyborg.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
He came.
And he's like, "Oh no, not again!"
Not again. Well, in this case, like father, like son, because mine is also John Hurt, because that look when he says "not again," the look on his face is, "I should have stayed in Aspen."
Yeah.
So, Ellen Ripley has steered me wrong again. So, all right. So, what do you got, Kurt?
Mine was after the self-destruct says, of course, have a nice day, and they all say thank you, and then they all squinch up the face, and
that's perfect.
And then it goes boom.
Twins, Basil.
Twins, Basil. Yeah, I put Colonel Sanders, Lord Helmet, and President Skroob hug at the end.
Yes.
That's
This is a great, I love it. He goes, "He's a great ship, boys. I think you should go down with it."
So I like how they say thank you.
Yes. Well, she stops to go, "Have a nice day." Hey, what happened to 6? Just kidding. She's a very active recording.
That's right.
Yes.
So, all right. Well, that's our should have stayed in Aspen moment between John Hurt and the three, the three bad amigos.
That's right.
We'll call them that. So,
Okay.
I did a quick thing here. We talked about earlier that we love the cast. It's great. But what if we did recast it? What if we did it for today? Right? I don't often go to the day, but I did today. And Kurt's going to like this because my Lonestar is going to be Glenn Powell.
Ooh. Oh, he's
all right. He's the guy.
He's overdone.
No, he's not overdone.
He's in everything.
So he's in the new Twisters. He was in Maverick. That guy, right? Yeah. So he's Lonestar. He's 35. Pullman was 34, so it hits that sweet spot. I've got Barf, Josh Gad.
Which
Josh
I
Gad.
read he's in the works to do a
Spaceballs too. Yeah. So, but I thought he'd be a good Barf. For Vespa, I got Emma Watson. All right. So Hermione, she's 34.
Hermione.
Zuniga was 25, but she looks younger, so we can get away with that one. Dark Helmet, I went with Bill Hader. So, take Moranis out, Bill Hader in.
I'd still put Moranis in there.
Yeah, I don't know if he'd come back. He stays away now. So, and Colonel Sanders, I got Jason Sudeikis.
Ooh, that's a good one.
I think he would be good because playing a little more of a straight man. And then Dot Matrix, I had Kristen Wiig. So we'll put her inside the costume. And President Skroob, I went with Tom Hanks. And he could also be yogurt.
Yeah.
So because we need a little bit of an older guy and someone who's a little silly. Yes. So I think Hanks could pull it off. So if we were going to recast this for today and do another Spaceballs, that could be a good cast right there.
That is pretty good.
I had read that too, that Josh Gad is involved in some.
Yeah.
For years and years, I remember I had heard that there was going to be a sequel and it was going to be called Spaceballs
2. The Search
for More Money.
Part 2.
Oh, well, that's what Rick Moranis when he was trying to do it. That was his choice.
And I've been telling people that for years. Yeah. And then I just read it in Wikipedia.
Real quick.
But then what the one in the movie is for the Search for More Money.
Mm-hmm. So, real quick, Rob.
Yeah.
You've been telling people that for years.
I have.
Who are you telling these things to? What conversation are you having? Hey, have you heard? There's going to be a Spaceballs 3.
Because he hates the movie so much. He's always talking about it.
I don't hate the movie.
Who are you telling
I don't
this
hate
to?
it.
We like to go with it, though.
Anybody that will listen.
Okay, so that's good.
That is my life. I'll tell anybody that will listen.
He does talk to everybody.
Yes, that's correct.
My wife says that. You've already told me that. I know, but you're here.
You're the only person I can talk to.
Nobody else will talk to me. So.
All right. Well, we've all waited.
I've actually started conversations by saying, I know, I've already said this a lot. So
we've all.
Have you heard that I've been to a Michael Jackson or Janet Jackson concert?
We've all heard.
Oh, okay.
Now, who did you go to that Janet Jackson concert with, Rob? Can we finally figure out who you went with?
Can we get past
Kurt was there. It's the last time I'm going to talk about it. I promise.
It was me.
It was you.
You weren't the only guy. It was me.
All right. All right. Well, we've all weighed in on the movie. We've hit our categories. So I think we have one more reviewer that we have to go to today.
O'Connor's Corner. He watches movies. It's Connor's Corner. Oh, yeah.
So since this movie is this show is apparently a family affair, my other son that's not here today, famous now on our podcast for Connor's Corner, weighed in on Spaceballs.
You're like the LeBron James of podcasts.
Yeah, I get them on. Yeah.
Bring on Bronny.
Yeah.
He's
no offense.
Ethan's a second round pick.
He's like no talent. It's because the dad's here.
Yeah, I mean you
is that what we're saying?
We got a bunch of nepo babies.
I was about to say
you're
you're free to get your kids in here too. You just choose not to. So.
No, because they
don't want
never
to.
Mind.
No.
All right, it would not go well.
Okay.
Mine too.
No. All right. Well, Connor wrote, Spaceballs is a movie that I could watch every day and never get bored of. It's a classic, and I'm always excited when I watch the film. It never fails to make me laugh, and I think it is my favorite spoof movie of all time. I died laughing when I first watched this as a kid, and I still die of laughter watching it as an adult. This movie will always hold a special place in my heart, and it is forever a classic to me. Perfect movie, 10 out of 10.
Ooh.
Extra. It's hard to choose a favorite character since they're all great, but if I had to pick someone, it's probably Dark Helmet. My favorite scene in the movie is without a doubt the jam scene with Colonel Sanders and Dark Helmet. So that is Connor's Corner.
That was really good.
10. He gave it a
10 out of 10.
And I mean, rest in peace for your son. I'm sorry.
What's it?
What?
He died.
Why does he die?
He died laughing.
Oh, he did die.
Oh, okay.
Hey.
He still did him.
Hey.
Yes.
Dad jokes
well
galore.
done. Yeah, well
Dad
done.
jokes for
And
everyone.
that's why Rob's kids won't come on.
I understand.
There's-
All right.
yeah, it's not them. It's
Well,
me.
I think let's talk about our final judgment. So watching this again, doing the podcast, how do you still feel about Spaceballs, Kurt?
I still love it. Like I told you yesterday when you came over.
Oh, yeah.
This was probably the first movie where I did most of my notes before I ever watched the movie.
You
Before
know
I
it
did
that
the
way.
rewatch.
We had
So-
talked about that you felt like
You could just do it
you
without
felt like
watching.
this was a movie that we could have just
Yeah, there was some of like the behind the scenes stuff that I looked up, beaten stuff, but yeah, I didn't really need to watch the movie to fill out the categories. So.
All right, Rob. We questioningly go.
Did you
How
grow?
do you still feel about our
I
movie?
still just showed.
Final judgment.
I don't hate it.
Out of 10, what are you giving this?
I give it an 8.
All right.
I give it an 8.
Solid
All right,
A.
that's
It's a
good.
B.
That's good.
We'll give
No, I think it's. I think
a solid B over here.
solid B. Got me through
Hey,
college.
hey,
What am I
give it a
gonna
B.
do?
What just happened?
I don't know why we do that.
Oh.
I blacked out. What happened?
You're good.
No,
got a B.
I
What happened?
I recognize it for what it is,
Yeah.
and I think there's some really smart humor in this movie.
Did your
that-
kids watch this with you?
No, every time they'd walk through, they go, "Hey, you're watching again?"
Oh.
I'm like, "Yeah, I'm watching it again."
I just don't think they appreciate it. You should
They wouldn't.
get them.
They
All
wouldn't.
right.
They
Okay.
wouldn't appreciate it. My son might.
Okay.
He's got
He
kind
likes
of that.
sort of
He's
stuff.
got kind of that humor, you
Like
know,
your
so-
humor.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. What's your final judgment there,
Yeah, so
Ethan?
again, this movie's perfect. I
Oh,
will always
nice.
enjoy it.
Nice.
And I guess the same way with me with Kurt, I didn't really have to do watching the movie. I just kind of just filled out the notes and stuff. I would say this movie, though, there are some things that aren't really appropriate for today's time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There was quite a few things that
I got you. But we let it live where it lives.
Yeah,
We're not gonna. Yeah.
I won't dive into that.
The
though,
pick scene probably is a
Yeah.
little less sensitive than it used to be, but it's still
Mm-hmm.
funny. So we'll just go with that. So, well, I'm with Ethan and the Movie Hound. Great movie. I can watch it anytime. It's one of those. We maybe have to do a show on this one of these times. But if you pick 10 movies where anytime you see it pop on TV or someone's watching it, you sit down and watch too.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what part of the movie it's in. You could be in the middle, you could be at the beginning, you could be at the end. You'll still watch the last 10 minutes, the first hour, whatever it is. So this is one of those for me. I'll always watch it if it comes on. So a great movie. So 3 great movies and Rob a little tepid, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's okay.
He'll still laugh. He laughed the whole time. So
I did. I liked it.
all right,
It was fun.
fans, if you'd like to support the show, take a second to hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already, and then share Totally 80s and 90s Recall with a friend so we can spread the fun and nostalgia far and wide throughout the galaxy as it appears. Also, you can reach out to the show on Twitter or X, whatever you call it. Subscribe to our Facebook page to interact and get updates about the show, or message us on Instagram or TikTok. We also have a YouTube channel so you can see all of us live in all our glory, and all of these links will be included in the show notes.
Yeah, and calling all retro rebels. Do you have a nasty case of the 80s and 90s nostalgic fever? If so, we've got the cure. Dave and I are ready to vaccinate you with epic tunes and righteous vibes. It's time to clear the cache of fake smiles and download some authentic joy. Prepare yourself to be transported to a dimension of pure 80s euphoria. Visit Totally 80s 90s Recall at podbean.com, and Dave and I will have you saying, like whatever, quicker than Pac-Man can gobble down a pile of power pellets. Now, if the internet has you saying, I declare, don't get your knickers in a twist, send us an email at 80s90srecall at gmail.com.
Too close.
Consider Dave and I your idea incubators. Step into our thought hatchery while we attempt to reverse engineer the taste of unicorn tears.
Why would the internet have anyone say, I declare? That doesn't make it. Okay, what do you got, Kurt?
Ooh, we almost got canceled in the middle of
almost.
that.
Immediately. Terrible.
All righty now, ladies and gentlemen. Now is the time for you to pull your Winnebago over to the side of the road, go wherever you get your podcast, and subscribe to Totally 80s and 90s Recall. Rate us 5 stars and write us a review. so we can continue to bring you some of this out of the world content.
Content.
Yeah, words are hard again.
It's tough. I got it.
It's a controversy.
Also, we have merchandising. If you are looking for some gift ideas for that Druish princess that you're trying to impress,
yes,
or something for your father's, brother's, nephew's, cousin's former roommate, we have our merch store. You can visit through our website with lots of cool items that they will love.
Is our totally 80s and 90s recall flamethrower up on the site yet?
I don't know. They're working it through legal.
Through legal, yes.
I think we should get a sheet too, because someone should go to sleep with our faces on a sheet they're sleeping with.
Wow,
don't you think?
That would be
leave my face
fantastic.
I think I would like to be face off.
Face off. That's twice today.
Can you imagine a pillow with our faces on it? Oh man!
Now, if it was a pillow, I'd cuddle up with that.
I would put a challenge out there. So if there's a company that happens to be listening that makes those kind of things,
yes,
and they were to make a sheet for us with our images on them, send it to us. We'll help. We'll like advertise for you.
I'll tell you this: if someone can just design something like that online and send it to us, we'll put it up on our website. It'll just say totally 80s 90s recalled the sheet, and it'll just have mine and Rob's smiling face. It's bedtime. So all right, well, Ethan, thank you for being on the show with us today.
Thank you for having me.
Did you have a good time?
I did have a good time.
You did have a good time. Do you have anything else you want to add before you sign off today?
I guess the only other thing I did have was mentioned earlier, again, the Spaceballs sequels in the works.
Oh yeah.
So
Josh Gad,
Gad starring and Mel Brooks producing.
Nice.
So
you think Gad will be barf now? I didn't know that when I made that, so I wasn't cheating.
No, that was good.
And the question is, are they going to bring back other people?
Oh yeah,
as well. Like
they can't bring back all of them.
I know, unfortunately,
the ones that are alive.
I know, unfortunately, not everybody, but the ones that are alive, are they going to bring them back? Because that's the question.
Mel Brooks is like 95, so I don't know if he could go through a whole shoot. Yeah, 98. So, all right, Rob, do you have any closing thoughts for us today?
I do. I want to read a closing thought that I took from a website called KeithAndTheMovies.com.
Well, thank you, Keith.
So this is a closing thought from Keith.
Thanks, Keith.
He says, as much as I love the 80s and 90s and have a soft spot for so many movies from the decade, I would be dishonest if I didn't admit that Spaceballs hasn't aged particularly well. It goes without saying that effects are well below today's standard, but that's expected and easy to look past. In fact, you could easily argue that the old-fangled visuals are part of the charm. But at times, it's the humor itself that feels terribly out of date. Will any younger viewers recognize Michael Winslow and the Doublemint twins? And Brooks sometimes gets a little lazy, leaning too much on juvenile humor, often filled with cheap double entendres. While there is an inconsistency to the comedy, there are also times where you can't help but enjoy the unbridled goofiness. I still laugh at Pizza the Hut, the wise pony-eared yogurt, and Dark Helmet's collection of oversized headgear. We get other really fun jokes that break the fourth wall and poke fun at filmmaking, merchandising, and big franchises. Spaceballs first hit the theater during the 10th anniversary of the original Star Wars. Over time has developed a fairly devout cult following, despite hardly being considered some of Mel Brooks' best work. For me, the nostalgic pull is undeniable even after all these years. So I thought that was a
we're gonna have to start previewing his closing thoughts. You're gonna bash it at the end too.
No, I think that last line is true. For me, the nostalgic pull is undeniable even after all these years. But some of it hasn't aged well, as our guest today has pointed out.
You haven't aged well. All right, you go fishing.
None of us have. What are you talking about?
Why don't you go fish in a boat?
Fish in a boat.
Let's go fish in a boat. Hey.
All right. Well, our journey this week has shown us that evil doesn't always triumph because good wasn't quite as dumb as Dark Helmet thought. However, Spaceballs is absolutely awesome, despite what Keith and Rob want to weigh in. So we hope you've enjoyed our look back at this 1987 classic film. If you're looking for more nostalgia, go back and check out some of our previous episodes. In fact, this time last year, we debuted another 80s movie comedy classic, National Lampoon's Vacation. So that's a good one. Finally, we'd like to thank all of our listeners, whether first-timers or subscribers, for hanging out with Rob, Kurt, Ethan, and I for an hour or so. And hopefully we provided you with some great laughs, great memories, great everything. And don't forget to tune in for all new episodes of Totally 80s and 90s Recall every Tuesday.
What are we doing next time?
Ooh, next time we are going back on the Billboard charts. We're looking at the Billboard Alternative Airplay charts in the 1990s. We're going to have a special guest on, and we're going to chop up some music. We're going to have a good time.
That'll be fun.
So homework for Rob. Rob loves homework. So lots to do.
I do. I love it.
He loves it. I've made it easy for you, but yeah.
Look at that.
No,
I don't know what that says about what you think of me. Huh? You have to make it easy.
I don't have to make it easy. I've just made it easy for you. So you've had a busy summer. You go lots of camping. You got lots of things going on. So
He thinks I'm an idiot.
I'm trying to ease his. What's that from? Field of Dreams. Ease his pain. That's what.
Ease my pain.
That's you. All right.
I believe you're adding to it.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, do you have anything else, Rob?
I have nothing.
Fancy goodbye.
No fancy goodbyes.
Boom. Oh. I wish
that is hard.
I wish I was eating out of a bucket right now too. Slop.
Of
barf.
His Alpo or whatever he's got.
Barf. Barf. By the way, Bon Jovi.
Slippery when wet.
I didn't know. I didn't know they got that record up in space. They got it. Maybe it was in a time capsule.
I knew it. I'm surrounded by assholes.